Hello, everybody, and welcome to Learn and Talk English. In this new series, we will help you improve your English listening skills by exploring engaging topics and real-life experiences. We encourage you to listen carefully until the end, as each episode is designed to help you expand your vocabulary, improve comprehension, and gain confidence in speaking English. If you find this episode helpful, don't forget to share it with others who might benefit. In today's episode, we will begin with two inspiring success stories of individuals whose lives changed because of their English skills. The first story is about someone who struggled with English but worked hard, earned a scholarship abroad, and successfully completed their postgraduate studies. The second story is about a professional who improved her English and, as a result, landed a better job and advanced in her career. These stories will motivate you and show how learning English can open doors to new opportunities. After that, we will shift our focus to daily life conversations. Our language experts will discuss practical, real-world scenarios and teach you useful phrases that you can apply in everyday situations, whether you're ordering food, making small talk, or navigating social and professional interactions. Understanding and practicing these expressions will help you sound more natural and fluent in English. In the following episodes, we'll continue to explore practical strategies to sharpen your listening skills, boost your speaking confidence, and improve your overall communication abilities. We'll provide valuable tips, engaging discussions, and interactive exercises to support your English learning journey. This podcast is perfect for anyone looking to improve their English, whether for daily conversations, career growth, or travel. So stay with us, keep practicing, and enjoy the journey of learning English. And before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. Your support helps us bring you the best content to enhance your English skills. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Learn and Talk English podcast. Today, we have an exciting episode lined up for you. First, we'll explore Sunil's inspiring journey to confidence, a story about a student from India who overcame his struggles with English to thrive in a postgraduate program in the United States. Then, we'll hear Maria's journey to success, the story of a determined professional from Spain who built her confidence in English and landed her dream job. After that, we'll dive deep into the theme of this episode, building self-confidence in English communication. Now, let's start by listening to Sunil and Maria's inspiring stories.
Sunil, a brilliant student from a small town in India, had always dreamed of studying in the United States. His hard work earned him a place in a prestigious postgraduate program at a renowned U.S. university. But while his technical skills were exceptional, his lack of confidence in English filled him with anxiety. Sunil feared participating in discussions and struggled to keep up with fast-paced lectures, making him question whether he belonged. In his first week, his professor, Dr. Williams, noticed his hesitation in class and invited him for a chat. "Sunil, you're incredibly talented, but don't let language hold you back. English is just a skill, and like any skill, it can be improved," she said. She advised him to practice daily, listen to podcasts to build comprehension, and speak without fear of making mistakes. Inspired by her words, Sunil committed to improving. He listened to English podcasts during his morning walks, practiced speaking with classmates in a conversation group, and made an effort to participate in class discussions. Though nervous, he pushed through his fear, viewing each mistake as a step toward growth. With consistent effort and Dr. Williams's encouragement, Sunil's confidence flourished. By the end of the semester, he was leading discussions, presenting his work with poise, and connecting with classmates from around the world. His improved English not only enhanced his academic success, but also gave him a sense of belonging. Years later, Sunil graduated with honors and became a respected computer scientist, working on groundbreaking projects at a top tech company. Reflecting on his journey, he often credited Dr. Williams's guidance and his persistence for transforming his life. Today, Sunil shares his story to inspire others, proving that confidence is built through determination and the courage to take the first step.
Wow, wasn't Sunil's journey truly inspiring? His story showed us how consistent effort and the courage to step out of your comfort zone can transform your life. Sunil's determination to improve his English helped him thrive academically and shaped his future success. Now, we're moving on to Maria's journey to success. Maria's story is about her transformation from feeling unsure about her English skills to landing a dream job in the international business world. We'll hear how she overcame her fears and embraced professional growth opportunities. Let's listen to Maria's story.
Maria, a determined young woman from Spain, always dreamed of advancing her career in international business. Though she was highly skilled in her field, her limited confidence in speaking English held her back. In her hometown, English was rarely spoken outside of classrooms, and Maria often avoided using it, fearing mistakes or judgment. When she was shortlisted for a prestigious managerial role at a multinational company, Maria knew English fluency was crucial. The interview process required presentations and discussions in English, and she worried her lack of confidence would ruin her chances. Despite her fears, Maria decided it was time to overcome this hurdle. Seeking help, Maria enrolled in a professional development program where her mentor, Ms. Carter, gave her practical advice. Practice speaking daily. Use everyday opportunities to speak English, even if just with herself. Watch and mimic. Watch English interviews and practice mimicking their pronunciation and tone. Embrace mistakes. View errors as learning opportunities, not failures. Maria embraced these tips wholeheartedly. Every morning, she practiced speaking in front of a mirror, simulating potential interview questions. She watched business-related TED Talks to improve her vocabulary and pronunciation. Maria also joined a local language exchange group where she practiced conversing with native English speakers in a supportive environment. Gradually, her confidence grew. By the time of her final interview, Maria delivered her presentation with clarity and poise, impressing the panel with her expertise and communication skills. She was offered the managerial role, marking a significant milestone in her career. In her new position, Maria frequently collaborated with international clients and presented at global conferences. With each interaction, her confidence deepened. Reflecting on her journey, she realized that persistence and a willingness to learn had transformed her life. Today, Maria is a successful business leader, mentoring others who face similar challenges. Her story reminds us that growth begins with courage and a commitment to improve, one step at a time.
After listening to the inspiring journeys of Sunil and Maria, it's clear how determination and persistence can lead to incredible transformations. Sunil showed us how stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing consistent effort can open doors to academic and professional success. Meanwhile, Maria's story highlighted the courage it takes to overcome self-doubt and seize opportunities for growth in the international business world. Both Sunil's and Maria's journeys remind us how truly powerful determination and persistence can be. They faced their fears, embraced opportunities to improve, and emerged stronger, more confident, and more successful. Their stories are not only inspiring, but also practical examples of how anyone can overcome challenges with English and achieve their goals. Now we're excited to move on to the next segment. We'll hear from two excellent experts, Jack and Olivia, who will share their insights on building self-confidence in English communication. They'll discuss tips, techniques, and strategies to help you grow your confidence and improve your English skills. Please stay tuned, and we encourage you to listen to this podcast multiple times. Focus on learning new vocabulary, phrases, and expressions, and don't hesitate to take notes to apply these lessons in your daily life. Let's dive into this insightful discussion.
Welcome back to Learn and Talk English. I'm Jack, and I'm really excited for today's topic.
Yeah.
It's one that I know a lot of you guys struggle with.
Absolutely.
And so am I from time to time. It is building confidence in speaking English. And to help me explore this topic, we have Olivia, an experienced English language instructor.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jack.
I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
So before we really get into it, we've got two really inspiring stories.
Yes.
About individuals who overcame their fear of speaking English to achieve their goals. And I think these stories are really going to illustrate just how powerful perseverance can be and what confident communication can really do for you.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with Maria. She's a talented professional from Spain.
Okay.
And she really needed English for this promotion, but she lacked the confidence to really go for it.
Yeah, I think Maria's experience is something that a lot of learners can relate to. You know, that feel of making mistakes or not having like a big enough vocabulary.
Oh, totally. And it can really impact your professional life.
Absolutely.
And what really stood out to me about Maria's story was her dedication to overcoming this.
Yeah.
Every single morning, she would practice English in front of the mirror.
Wow.
I mean,
that's dedication.
it's dedication.
That's great.
And I think it's such a simple but effective strategy.
Right. And it's something like you can do at home, you know? And what she's doing is building fluency by repetition. She's correcting herself. And you get used to hearing yourself speaking in English, and it really does reduce anxiety over time.
It's like, athletes, they practice every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the same thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It worked.
That's awesome.
Maria aced the interview and got that promotion.
Good for her.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's a testament to hard work and consistency.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it shows that anyone can make progress if they just put in the effort.
Exactly. And you don't have to be paralyzed by fear. You know, taking action is what matters.
Love it.
Cool.
All right, so now we'll move on to Sunil. He's a brilliant student from India who's attending a really challenging university program here in the U.S. Now, he definitely had the academic skills, but his English fluency wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah.
And it really started to weigh on him emotionally.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Being in a new environment, surrounded by native speakers.
Right.
It's easy to feel lost and even start to doubt yourself.
Absolutely. Language is so important to how we see ourselves and where we feel we belong. And when we can't express ourselves, it really can impact our confidence.
Yeah, he really started to feel like he didn't belong.
Yeah,
But thankfully, he had a professor, Dr. Williams, who saw his potential.
that's great.
Yeah, she was great.
A supportive teacher can make such a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She saw him struggling. And, she didn't just offer some empty words of encouragement.
Right.
She actually gave him some concrete strategies.
And those strategies can be so valuable for English learners.
Totally. Like, what kind of advice did she give?
Well, she told him to focus on consistent practice, immerse himself in the language as much as possible, and most importantly, to accept that mistakes are a part of the process.
Okay, so don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. So many learners get caught up in trying to be perfect,
Right.
but making mistakes is actually how we learn.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's amazing how Dr. Williams' advice and just her support really transformed Sunil.
It is.
He started participating more in class, having conversations, and he flourished both academically and socially.
That's wonderful. It just shows that sometimes all it takes is the right guidance and a supportive environment to really unlock your potential.
And it's so interesting because while Maria and Sunil's stories are very different, they both initially felt held back by their English-speaking skills, right?
They did.
They both had those moments of doubt and fear that I think we all experience.
Yeah, but they both made the choice to improve.
Exactly. They stepped outside their comfort zones and embraced the challenge.
Right.
And the results are amazing.
Yeah, they both achieved their goals, and it just proves that anyone can overcome these language barriers
Absolutely.
and open up a world of opportunities for themselves.
If they have persistence and the right mindset.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is inspiring to see how they both took these challenges and made them into something positive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how they each had a different approach to it. It shows that there's no one right way to learn,
Totally. Like, I remember when I was learning Spanish, I tried those language exchange apps.
Yeah.
But I felt so awkward, like I was constantly stumbling over my words.
Right.
But then I found that listening to podcasts or watching Spanish movies with subtitles, that worked so much better for me.
It's all about finding what clicks for you.
Yeah.
And, that reminds me of another important takeaway from Maria and Sunil's stories.
Okay.
It's all about your mindset.
Oh, yeah. Like when Dr. Williams told Sunil to embrace his mistakes.
Exactly. It's not just something nice to say.
Right.
There's actually research that backs that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the affective filter.
Okay. The what filter?
Affective filter.
Affective filter.
Yeah. And basically, it's this idea that when we're anxious or afraid to make mistakes, it creates a mental block that stops us from learning.
Like, we're so worried about being perfect that we can't actually take in any new information.
Exactly. But when we have a more positive attitude and see mistakes as opportunities to learn,
Yeah.
that filter kind of disappears and our brains are more open to learning.
Oh, wow. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Like, I used to be so scared of mispronouncing words or messing up the grammar that I would just avoid speaking altogether.
Right.
But then I realized that I needed to let go of that fear of making mistakes
Yeah.
and just focus on getting my message across.
Absolutely. And the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become.
It's like working out a muscle.
Exactly. You got to keep using it.
So what are some practical steps that our listeners can take to build their confidence in speaking English?
Well, I think the first thing is to find opportunities to practice consistently.
Consistent practice.
Yeah, it could be anything like joining a conversation group or finding a language partner or even just recording yourself speaking.
I like that.
The key is to make it a habit.
Yeah, just a little bit every day goes a long way.
Exactly. And don't forget about immersion.
Okay.
Surround yourself with English as much as you can.
Like listening to music.
Yeah, music, podcasts, movies, TV shows, anything you enjoy.
So you're constantly hearing the language.
Right, and you'll start to pick up on the nuances of pronunciation and intonation.
That makes sense. And what about different learning methods? Like, are there some that are better than others?
I think it really depends on the person.
Yep.
Some people do well in a traditional classroom setting,
Right.
while others prefer to learn on their own.
Yeah.
There are so many resources out there nowadays, like apps, websites, you name it.
It's like having a personalized language learning toolkit.
Exactly. And one more thing, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling stuck or you need help with a particular aspect of English, find a teacher, a tutor, someone who can give you feedback and guidance.
It's like having a coach in your corner.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Yeah, Maria and Sunil, they both had people supporting them.
Right. And you have this community. We're all in this together. That's so true. It really is a community effort.
Yeah, we can all learn from each other and support each other.
Exactly. And speaking of growing and improving,
Yeah.
let's talk about the benefits of being confident in speaking English.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about communication.
Right. It opens up so many doors.
Exactly. Both personally and professionally.
Like we saw with Maria, she got that promotion.
Yeah.
And Sunil had a much better experience in university.
Absolutely. And it can even boost your self-esteem,
Totally.
You can connect with more people, make new friends.
Yeah, travel the world.
Exactly. Imagine being able to talk to anyone from anywhere, sharing ideas, making connections.
That would be amazing.
It really would.
Yeah, it's like a whole new world opens up to you.
And that's something worth working towards, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
Building confidence in speaking English. It's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
Yeah, you're constantly learning and growing.
Yeah, so just take it one step at a time.
Celebrate those small victories.
And never give up.
And remember, confidence is something you build.
It's not something you're born with.
Exactly. You have to believe in yourself.
And surround yourself with people who believe in you too.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Learn and Talk English.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you found these stories inspiring and the tips helpful.
It was great being here.
And don't forget to stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe for more tips and inspiring stories on your English learning journey.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep practicing and keep believing in yourself.
Welcome back. In this next segment, we have something exciting and valuable for you. We'll be listening to two English experts as they discuss an English conversation lesson focused on family, jobs, and more, all essential topics for improving your communication skills in everyday life. This discussion will introduce you to practical vocabulary, useful phrases, and natural expressions that will help you speak more fluently and confidently. Whether you're talking about your family, discussing your job, or engaging in casual conversations, mastering these common topics will make your English sound more natural and effortless. We encourage you to listen carefully and pay close attention to new words and phrases. Try to note down any expressions that are new to you, and think about how you can use them in your own conversations. The more you expose yourself to real conversations, the better your listening skills will become. To get the most out of this lesson, we challenge you to practice what you learn. Repeat the phrases out loud, use them in your daily conversations, and even write them in the comments below. Let us know which words or phrases you found most useful and how you plan to use them in real life. And remember, active listening is the key to improvement, so stay focused, take notes, and most importantly, enjoy the learning process. If you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more valuable lessons to help you on your journey to English fluency. Now, let's dive into the conversation and start improving your English together.
Welcome to the Learn and Talk English podcast. This episode is especially for you if you're learning English at a basic level. I'll be speaking slowly and clearly, and I'll repeat some sentences so you can practice speaking along with me. Today, we'll be exploring a variety of everyday topics to help you improve your conversational skills, just like chatting with a friend. I'm joined by another native English speaker, and we're going to have a relaxed and informal conversation about all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm excited to dive into some interesting conversations with you.
Me too. We'll be talking about things like family, childhood, jobs, and even travel, food, and hobbies. If this sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing to this channel and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's start with something we all have in common, family. Have you ever noticed that you might resemble someone in your family? Maybe you have your mother's eyes or your father's smile, or perhaps you share similar personality traits. It's really fascinating how these characteristics are passed down through generations.
It really is. People have often told me that I look a lot like my mother. We have the same skin tone and eye color, and even our build is pretty similar. I think I inherited that slender physique from her side of the family. You see, my father's side of the family is German, and they tend to be a bit more, well, let's just say robust.
Interesting. So you got your looks from your mom's side, but what about your personality?
That's where my father's influence comes in. He is incredibly calm and patient. He rarely gets stressed. And I think I've inherited that same level-headedness from him. Now I'm probably a bit more lighthearted and playful than he is. He can be pretty serious sometimes. But yeah, that underlying calmness is definitely something we share.
That's funny. We could be such a mix of different family members. I see a lot of my mother in my appearance. People often say that I'm her image, especially when they compare me to photos of her when she was my age. And it's not just physical features. I've also picked up some of her mannerisms, like her expressive way of speaking.
I can definitely see that. You have a very animated way of speaking.
Well, thanks. But my personality is more aligned with my father's side of the family. I think I inherited his rationality and his sense of humor. And I also get my boundless energy from my grandmother. She's always on the go. And I find myself constantly busy as well. Honestly, it's a bit of a challenge to slow down sometimes.
I understand what you mean. It's important to find a balance, though. Even the most energetic people need time to recharge.
You're absolutely right. Speaking of change and growth, let's move on to a topic that's a bit more philosophical. Childhood. When do you think childhood ends? And when do you really become an adult? This is the question that can have different answers depending on different cultures and personal experiences.
It's a great question, and there's really no easy answer. It's more of a gradual process than a sudden shift, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's definitely a series of milestones and experiences that shape us into who we are. But do you think there's a specific moment when you feel like you crossed that line into adulthood?
For me, I think a big part of becoming an adult is being able to live independently and take care of yourself. Like when you're no longer relying on your parents for financial support or housing, or even for basic needs, that's when you really step out on your own.
It's interesting that you mentioned independence. I agree. It's definitely a big part of becoming an adult. But I also think being able to make your own decisions is crucial, even if you still ask for advice or help from others, because you are ultimately responsible for your own choices and the consequences that come with them.
I see your point. It's about taking ownership of your own life and making choices that are right for you, even when those choices are difficult.
Exactly. And sometimes life throws unexpected challenges at us, challenges that force us to grow up faster than we expected, like having children, for instance. I think that could be a huge transition into adulthood.
Absolutely. It definitely changes your priorities and makes you think about the needs of someone else before your own. It's a big responsibility, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Now let's change gears a bit and talk about something many of us have experienced.
Yeah.
Jobs. I think everyone has at least one story about a job that wasn't exactly the right fit. What about you? What was your worst job experience?
Oh, that's easy. It was definitely being a dishwasher. I was just 16 at the time. And it was a rough environment, to say the least. The kitchen staff were all much older than me. And let's just say the language wasn't always appropriate. It wasn't exactly a welcoming place for a quiet teenager.
I can imagine. Kitchens can be pretty intense places to work.
Yeah, and then there was the actual work, washing dishes all day long. It was so hot and humid.
Yeah.
And I was constantly dealing with greasy, dirty dishes. Ugh. I even cut my finger on a broken glass once while I was washing up.
Oh, ouch. That doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the highlight of my career.
I hear you. Thankfully, we've both moved on to more enjoyable things now. I think my worst job was working at a call center one summer. It was my first office job.
Yeah.
And I basically spent the whole summer glued to a desk, making endless phone calls to businesses. We were trying to convince them to sign up for some training on a new electronic device. And I had to read from a script every single time. It was incredibly repetitive and not at all engaging.
Oh, man. That does sound mind-numbing.
It was. They tried to make it more fun, like they had these dress-up days and silly competitions. But that didn't really change the fact that the work itself was really boring.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred your call center job to my dishwasher job, honestly. I had another pretty bad job working as a sharpshooter for a company that took photos of tourists. Basically, I would take photos of people without them knowing and then try to sell them overpriced prints of the photos. Felt kind of wrong. And honestly, most people were already taking their own photos with their phones. It wasn't very fulfilling work.
Wow. It's amazing how much those bad job experiences can shape our perspective on things, though. They definitely make you appreciate the work you do now.
Absolutely.
Speaking of appreciating things, let's talk about travel. If you could pick 3 places in the United States to visit or revisit, where would you go?
Well, for me, it'd have to be the Grand Canyon. It's one of those iconic natural wonders, you know, the ones you always see in pictures. And I've just always wanted to see it in person. I can only imagine how amazing it would be to just stand there on the rim and look out over that vast expanse.
Yeah, the Grand Canyon is definitely on my travel bucket list too. But I don't think I'd be satisfied with just seeing it from the rim. I would want to actually hike down into the canyon, maybe even camp there overnight, and really get a feel for that incredible landscape.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. You know, since we're talking about the Western U.S., I've also always been interested in the Pacific Northwest. Seattle in particular seems like such a cool city. And of course, there's all that amazing nature nearby. The Cascade Mountains, the forests, the coast. I'd even want to take a side trip up to Vancouver and Vancouver Island.
The Pacific Northwest is beautiful. For my second trip, though, I'd love to explore the Northeast, U.S. Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. Those states all have such a unique feel, with the rocky coastlines and the charming seaside towns. And I've heard that the forests there are incredible, especially in the fall, when the leaves change color.
And for my third choice, I'd want to go back to Colorado. That's where I grew up. And I haven't been back in years. I have so many great memories of exploring the Rocky Mountains. It would be amazing to see those places again.
Oh, I bet. There's really something special about revisiting places from your childhood. As for my third destination, I think I have to go with Yosemite National Park. It's another one of those classic American landscapes that I've always dreamed of seeing. The granite cliffs, the waterfalls, the giant sequoia trees. It just seems like a place of pure natural wonder.
Yeah, those are all great choices. Sounds like we both have a serious case of wanderlust. Travel is such a great way to experience new things and create lasting memories.
Absolutely. Speaking of experiences, let's move on to something a little closer to home. Food. I'm always curious to hear about what people like to cook at home. What are some of your favorite things to make?
Well, I tend to be a little practical when it comes to cooking. I like to make big batches of things so I can have leftovers for a few days. One of my go-to dishes is chili. It's hearty and flavorful, and it's perfect for cold evenings.
Oh, I love chili too. It's so comforting and satisfying, especially during the winter. Plus, it's a great way to use up any leftover ingredients you might have.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? What else do you like to make?
See, I also really enjoy making fish tacos. I bake the fish instead of frying it to keep things a little lighter, and then I pile on all sorts of fresh toppings, like shredded cabbage, avocado, pico de gallo, whatever I have on hand.
Fish tacos are the best.
I'm also a big fan of salmon. I usually prepare it pretty simply, with a squeeze of lemon, some fresh dill, and a little bit of butter.
That sounds delicious. I sometimes make a more Asian-inspired salmon dish with soy sauce, sesame oil, and a little bit of ginger.
Oh, I'll have to try that. I'm always looking for new ways to cook salmon.
Yeah, you should. And while we're on the topic of delicious food,
I have to mention my love of soup. I could eat soup all year round, but it's especially satisfying during the fall and winter. Lately, I've been experimenting with different butternut squash soup recipes, and I make a really good Italian vegetable soup, too.
oh yeah, soup is definitely a classic comfort food. It's so versatile, and it's perfect for any occasion.
Okay, now let's switch gears for a moment
Yeah.
and indulge in a bit of fantasy. If you could design your dream home, what 3 features would you absolutely have to include?
Ooh, I love this question. Let me think. If I could have any house in the world, it would have to have a spacious living room with high ceilings and huge windows that overlook the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow, that sounds absolutely breathtaking. Can you imagine waking up to that view every morning?
It would be incredible. I picture my dream home perched on a cliffside with the sound of waves crashing against the rocks below. And to go with that open living room, I'd also want a big open kitchen that flows seamlessly into the living area. I love how open floor plans make it easy to be social while you're cooking.
Yeah, I love that idea too. It creates such a welcoming atmosphere. What would your third must-have feature be?
For my third essential element, I'd have to have a dedicated game room. It would be my ultimate entertainment space. With a pool table, a ping pong table, foosball, a big screen TV for video games, and of course a huge collection of board games.
A game room sounds like so much fun. I can already picture all the laughter and friendly competition.
Yeah.
What about you? What features would your dream home include? My dream home would definitely have a spacious open living area too. But I'm not too picky about the specific view. For me, it's all about natural light. I'd love to have big windows that let in tons of sunshine to create a bright and cheerful space, maybe with a view of a peaceful forest or a nice garden.
Oh yeah, natural light is so important. It can really make a space feel more inviting.
Exactly. And from a more practical standpoint, I'd also need a dedicated studio space where I could film my English lessons and YouTube videos. I'd want plenty of room for different backdrops and equipment, and a comfortable setup for creating all my content.
Makes sense. Having a dedicated workspace is definitely important for productivity and creativity.
And finally, for a little bit of luxury, I'd love to have a rooftop deck. It would be the perfect place to relax and enjoy the outdoors. Imagine stargazing on a clear night, or just soaking up the sun with a good book.
Ooh, a rooftop deck is a great idea. It's like having your own private oasis.
Now let's shift gears again and venture into the fascinating world of nature. We're both big fans of nature documentaries,
Yeah.
and we're always amazed by the incredible diversity and wonder of the natural world. What are some cool nature facts that you know?
Okay, well, one that always sticks with me is the fact that some turtles can actually breathe through their butts.
Wait, you're kidding. That's incredible.
I know it sounds strange, but it's true. Certain freshwater turtles can absorb oxygen from water through their cloaca, which is like a multi-purpose opening they have for excretion, reproduction, and in this case, respiration.
Wow, that is amazing. Nature's full of such unexpected adaptations. I recently learned something really interesting about butterflies, too. Did you know that when a caterpillar forms a chrysalis, it basically digests itself? It breaks down its body into this liquid state, and then it completely reassembles itself into a butterfly, using its own DNA as a blueprint.
Whoa, I had no idea. That's like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right? And speaking of incredible transformations, let's talk about albatrosses. They have the longest wingspan of any bird in the world, reaching up to 12 feet.
Wow. That's longer than most cars.
It is. And because their wings are so big, they need a really long runway to take off. Like they actually have to run and flap their wings like crazy just to get airborne.
That's fascinating. I also read that albatrosses mate for life, which is pretty rare in the animal kingdom.
They do, and they have these incredible long-distance relationships. They spend most of their lives soaring over the ocean looking for food. Yeah. But they always return to the same nesting grounds to breed and to reunite with their mates. It's really a testament to their amazing navigation skills and the strength of their bond.
Speaking of amazing creatures, have you ever heard of mantis shrimp?
Oh, yes. Mantis shrimp are so cool. They're known for their incredibly powerful punch, which they use to stun their prey.
How powerful are we talking?
Well, they can generate enough force to break through aquarium glass.
No way! That's insane! It's hard to believe that something so small can be that strong.
I know, and that's not all. Mantis shrimp also have the most complex vision system in the entire animal kingdom. While humans only have 3 types of color receptors in our eyes, mantis shrimp have somewhere between 12 and 16. This allows them to see a much wider range of colors, including ultraviolet light that's invisible to us.
Wow, nature is truly full of wonders.
Now, since we're talking about American culture, I thought it would be fun to discuss a uniquely American holiday, Thanksgiving. It's a time for families to come together, to share a delicious meal, and to express gratitude for all the good things in their lives.
I've heard of Thanksgiving, but I'm not really familiar with the traditions. Could you tell me a little bit more about it?
Of course. Thanksgiving is celebrated on the 4th Thursday of November, and it commemorates a harvest feast that was shared by the Pilgrims and Native Americans way back in the 17th century.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a historical holiday.
Yeah. And over the centuries, it's evolved into this really cherished national tradition. The centerpiece of Thanksgiving is definitely the food.
What kind of food do people eat on Thanksgiving?
Well, the main attraction is a roasted turkey, which is usually served with stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce, and all sorts of other side dishes.
That sounds like a lot of food.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
People usually spend days preparing for the Thanksgiving feast, and everyone goes back for seconds and thirds.
What is stuffing?
Stuffing is this savory dish. It's made with bread, vegetables, herbs, and seasonings, and it's traditionally cooked inside the turkey, which gives it a really rich flavor.
And what about cranberry sauce? I've seen it in stores, but I've never actually tried it.
Cranberry sauce is a sweet and tart condiment. It's made from cranberries, sugar, and sometimes orange zest. It adds this nice boost of flavor to the Thanksgiving meal, and it goes especially well with turkey and mashed potatoes.
So you have the main course and the side dishes, and of course no Thanksgiving meal would be complete without dessert. What's the traditional dessert for Thanksgiving?
The classic Thanksgiving dessert is pumpkin pie. It's this spiced pumpkin custard that's baked in a flaky pie crust, and it's often served with a dollop of whipped cream.
Oh man, that sounds delicious.
It is. And after the meal, people usually relax and watch football games, or play games, or just spend time chatting with each other.
What is football? I've heard people talk about it, but I'm not sure I understand the game.
Well, American football is a really popular sport here in the U.S. It involves two teams trying to move this oval-shaped ball down a field by running with it or passing it. And the team with the most points at the end of the game wins.
Ah, okay. It sounds like a pretty strategic and physical game.
It is. It's a sport that a lot of people are really passionate about, especially on Thanksgiving Day, when families and friends get together to watch the games.
That sounds fun.
Now let's move on to a topic that's particularly relevant in our busy modern world: relaxation. We all experience stress from time to time, so it's important to have ways to unwind and take care of our mental health.
I agree. Stress management is definitely essential for a healthy and balanced life.
What are some of your go-to relaxation techniques?
When I'm feeling stressed, I find that physical activity really helps. Like something that requires focus and concentration. So like playing a sport, going for a hike, or even just going for a brisk walk in nature. It helps me clear my head and get a fresh perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you. Being out in nature can be so calming and restorative. I love taking walks in the park or exploring trails in the woods. It's a great way to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and just reconnect with the natural world.
For sure. You know, I also find that taking a warm shower can be really relaxing, especially at night. It's like I'm washing away the stress of the day and my mind just starts to unwind. Sometimes I even get my best ideas in the shower when I'm not actively trying to think or solve problems.
That's interesting. I've heard that showers can boost creativity because the warm water and the lack of distractions create this ideal environment for brainstorming. You can just let your thoughts flow freely.
Yeah, I think that's true. And of course, getting enough sleep is super important too. When I don't get enough sleep, I'm so much more irritable and anxious and overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. Sleep is crucial for our physical and mental health. When we're well rested, we're better able to handle challenges and cope with stress.
Another technique I've found really helpful is meditation. Even just taking a few minutes to focus on my breath and be mindful of the present moment can really calm my mind and reduce anxiety.
I've been trying to meditate more regularly too. It's amazing how a few moments of stillness and deep breathing can completely change your perspective.
I know, right? Sometimes the simplest things are the most effective.
So we've talked about relaxation. Now let's talk about sports and exercise. What sports or activities did you enjoy doing when you were a child?
Oh man, I was a pretty active kid. I tried a bunch of different sports growing up. I started with t-ball, which is like a simplified version of baseball for little kids. Then I played soccer for a few years. I also took swimming lessons and did gymnastics, which helped with coordination and flexibility.
Wow. Sounds like you had a well-rounded athletic experience.
Yeah, my parents always encouraged me to try different things and to find something I really enjoyed. I even tried figure skating for a little while.
Figure skating. That's interesting. What made you want to try that?
I don't know. I was always fascinated by how graceful and artistic it seemed. I loved learning how to glide across the ice and how to spin and jump. But then my brother convinced me to try hockey, and that ended up being my favorite.
Hockey is a pretty demanding sport. It takes a lot of skill and stamina and teamwork.
It does, but it's so exhilarating. The speed, the strategy, the physicality. It's the kind of sport that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
I can definitely see the appeal. I didn't really play any team sports when I was a kid. I mostly just played outside with my friends. We would play tag, hide and seek, kickball. We even made up our own games, using whatever we could find in our backyard or at the park.
Yeah.
But the main sport I did was swimming. I was on a swim team every summer, from elementary school all the way through high school.
Wow, that's a big commitment. What did you like most about swimming?
I love the feeling of being weightless in the water and the rhythm of my strokes. And I like the challenge of trying to improve my times. Swimming taught me a lot about discipline and perseverance and the importance of setting goals.
That's awesome. Okay, new topic. Electronics. If you could upgrade any of your electronic devices for free, what would you choose?
That's a fun question. I'm not really a big tech person, but I can definitely think of a few upgrades that would make my life easier.
Well, I actually had a little mishap with my laptop recently.
Oh no, what happened?
My son accidentally stepped on it, and, well, it's not really in one piece anymore.
Oh dear. I hope it wasn't too badly damaged.
It still works,
Yeah.
but the screen's cracked, and the casing is pretty messed up. So yeah, if I could upgrade anything, it would definitely be my laptop. I use it for everything. Work, communication, entertainment. Having a fully functional laptop would be a lifesaver.
I understand that. A
Yeah.
reliable laptop is pretty essential these days.
The other upgrade I'd want is a home security system. We don't have one right now. And I think it would give me a lot more peace of mind, knowing that our home is protected, especially when we're traveling.
Yeah, home security system can definitely provide some extra peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that your home is being monitored and that you'll be alerted if anything unusual happens.
For sure.
As for me, I'm not really into fancy gadgets, but I would love to have keyless entry for my car.
You mean like a key fob that lets you unlock and lock your car remotely?
Exactly. It'd be so convenient, especially when I have my hands full with groceries or when I'm trying to get my 2 little kids in and out of the car. No more fumbling around for my keys.
Oh, yeah, that would be really handy. You know, our car actually has keyless entry, but we don't have the key fobs for it. The previous owner lost them.
Really? Well, maybe that's a sign that we should invest in some new ones.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a topic that can be both insightful and funny. Funny.
Yeah.
I think we've all made purchases that we later regretted, whether it was an impulse buy or a gadget that didn't live up to the hype, or just something that we realized we didn't really need. What are some purchases that you regret making?
Oh, let me think. Well, one that comes to mind right away is this pair of expensive headphones I bought a while back.
Oh, what was wrong with them?
Well, for one thing, they were really expensive. I think you even tried to talk me out of buying them.
I vaguely remember that conversation.
I was convinced that I needed to upgrade my headphones, and I got sucked in by all the marketing. But when I finally got them, they were incredibly uncomfortable. They like clamped down on my ears. It was like a vice grip. I would get headaches after wearing them for a while.
Ouch. That doesn't sound good at all.
And then to make matters worse, our cat decided he liked the cord, and he chewed right through it. So within a week of buying these expensive headphones, they were basically useless.
Oh, no. What a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a good lesson learned. Don't make impulse purchases and do your research before you buy something, especially if it's expensive.
I hear you. I actually have a much smaller purchase that I regret making all the time. Buying tea at Starbucks.
Really? Why?
Well, I don't drink coffee, so tea is pretty much my only option there. But I always cringe at the price. It seems so ridiculous to pay that much for a tea bag and some hot water, especially when I can make a whole pot of tea at home for way less money.
I see your point. It's easy to fall into the convenience trap, and those little expenses can definitely add up over time.
Exactly. And to be honest, the tea at Starbucks never tastes as good as I want it to.
Yeah. You know, I try not to dwell on past purchases too much. If I bought something and I enjoyed it at the time, I don't really beat myself up about it later, but I definitely understand that feeling of buyer's remorse.
I like that attitude. I'm trying to be more mindful of my spending habits too, and to focus on experiences rather than material things.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy.
My other big regret is something that I think a lot of parents can relate to. Buying toys for my son that he never plays with. I always have this idea in my head that he's going to love this particular toy, but then he ends up ignoring it completely and just playing with whatever's in his imagination.
I know what you mean. Kids often have their own ideas about what's fun.
It's true. It's a good reminder that sometimes the simplest things are the most engaging for young minds.
Yeah, you know what? I just thought of another purchase I regret. A while back, I bought some t-shirts online, and the quality was terrible. The fabric was so thin and scratchy, and they fit really weird.
Yeah, buying clothes online can be risky. You never really know how the fabric is going to feel or how clothes are going to fit until you actually try them on.
You're telling me it's definitely a gamble.
Well, on that note, maybe we should focus on something more positive.
Mm-hmm.
What are you grateful for? It's always good to take a moment to appreciate the good things in our lives.
That's a great idea. I'm grateful for my family, my health, and the fact that I get to do work that I find meaningful. What about you?
I'm grateful for my family and friends, my adorable dog, and for the opportunity to connect with people all over the world through my work.
Oh, that's nice. It's amazing how even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And on that uplifting note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of the Learn and Talk English podcast.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about family, childhood, jobs, travel, food, hobbies, relaxation, sports, electronics, and even money.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting conversation.
I hope you found our discussion engaging and informative, and that you learned some new vocabulary and expressions along the way.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future conversations.
And be sure to leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the topics we discussed.
Yeah, tell us about your family, or your favorite places to travel, or your go-to relaxation techniques, or even some purchases you regret making.
We appreciate you joining us on this journey of language learning and cultural exploration. Until next time, keep practicing your English and keep those conversations flowing.
Bye for now.
Bye.